Hello. Ecclesiastes 9.9. My mother told me to read this. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity. For that is thy portion in this life, and in thy labor which thou takest under the sun. Ecclesiastes 9.9 King James Version. And I wonder, vanity to me would be a young man that spends time combing his hair and things like that. I mean, it's good to do that. But once you're an old man, you're not really into vanity anymore. You're more into like slowing down the aging process. That's what you're into. Not getting exhausted. Or at least that's what I'm into. And you're putting your Tai Chi training back to work. In Tai Chi, people believe that if water goes stale if it doesn't flow, but if you keep limber and if you keep exercising, you keep moving, then the water will not go stale. It will be delicious water, or your own body will be able to do wonderful things. Like you'll be able to tie your shoes, you'll be able to get up without getting dizzy and things like that. So I'm supposed to keep the wife of my youth, but the problem that happened with us is that my mother chased away my girlfriends. Well, Daniel, you let that happen. True. But then, if you're a young man listening, I know that the Bible says honor your mother and your father. But I think that sometimes your mother and your father are completely wrong. I think that the Indian system from India, where a 13-year-old marries another 13-year-old, I don't think that's so bad. I would make them adults even. Why baby children? Of course, there might be a cultural or traditional way of thinking, and well, it's a traditional way of thinking, and people used to live only 30 years. A friend of mine was telling me, they lived up to 30. Now we live up to 70, 80 years, 100. Well, then that's no reason to make teenagers into babies. As far as like they can't vote, they can't get married until they're 18. They're not able to get married at 13. So what do I do at 13? Start masturbating until... I think it's just wrong. I think you should get married young. You have a better chance of being nice to each other. You get married at, how old was I? 29? 28? You get married at those times. What? The only year we had fun was the first year. And now what? A bunch of years later, we're just putting up with each other. God does not like a divorce, huh? But how can I fix a marriage that is messed up? Man, it's simple. I mean, the Bible says it. Respect your husband. Husband, love your wife. Well, no respect, no love. Oh well. It's a messed up world. The best advice I have for everybody is to live alone, at least for the men. Live alone This way, you go visit her, or she comes to visit you. You give each other sex, have dinner, and then if she starts yelling, you go back to your house, or you get out of your house and have a small house. I mean, I'm talking about smaller than a shed. This way she won't even want to move in with you. And you'll save money. You'll be able to buy her a dress. How many dresses have you bought her? At least for her birthday, buy her something, right? In my life, I only bought one dress for one girlfriend, and underwear for another girlfriend. It wasn't their birthday or anything like that. Oh well, live alone. It's just better than to be in a house with a woman that's yelling. Even that is in the Bible. It's better a hot tin roof, a corner of a hot tin roof, than with inside with a spacious house with an angry woman. Yep. If only one person listens to me, that would be a big achievement. My stepdad always lived alone, and then when he retired, he moved to Florida and he lived with my mother for a few months. But that didn't last because, well, I guess people stop hearing when they get older, and he's into watching TV all day and then the radio at night all night. So like, they really can't get along with that. They are a mismatch. They're a good match for like going to restaurants. They both like restaurants, whereas I cannot stand restaurants. And look at that, it was my birthday and the spouse did a barbecue for me, and only less than a year earlier, she had thrown me in the hospital jail. How can you do that to a person and then be celebrating their birthday? Oh, especially the second time she threw me in the hospital jail. I mean, she lied to throw me in there just to stop the homeschooling that I was doing with my son. And then when I did come out here for the barbecue, my mother said, "Daniel," I said something, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if," and then she said, "Daniel, I don't want to hear it." And I didn't even get to mention my thoughts. So then I made up the excuse that the flies were out here, and I finished eating here, and I went over there to stay in the living room where I live, top of my bed. And then my mother says, "Isn't he gonna come out here?" And I'm like, "What? You're rude and disrespectful mother. I put up with you because I know your life was even more difficult than mine, mother. I know your dad didn't love you, or at least didn't express love, because he was always serious. He was a soldier. But then his life was pretty mean. You know, sometimes you look at these old people and they've had some terrible lives. I am here eager to help my son, and sometimes your own family, it's the opposite. They don't want to help you at all, so get away from them. Go find people that will help you. Move farther away from your own family. And then what does my mother say to our one invited guest, or our one friend? She says, "Can you find some marijuana for me?" Like, I know she's not kidding. And Because my belief about people that smoke cigarettes is that even though my mother's not smoking now, I don't know, when we had the daycare, I used to tell her, please go pick up those cigarettes you're throwing all over the place. Because she used to fling them all the way to the street. So she moved out and paid an $800 a month apartment that she couldn't keep. So with this one friend that came over, he was like, what? Then I was thinking, oh, the cat's out of the bag now. I have not done any drugs, illegal drugs like that. And I know my family has. And so my kids, they heard it, especially my oldest, and I told her, well, now you know where we come from. Don't do it. I just told her, don't do it. I know that you and I don't get along and that maybe you want attention. You got straight A's in schools, and I say, well, so what? I mean, you're learning a poem to memorize noun, verb, adjective, pronoun. Learn something that will earn you money. Fixing a car, fixing a computer, website design, something. Electricity, electrician, right? Plumber. But the daughter doesn't listen. But I tell her, daughter, please don't start with drugs. All right? And then I told my friend, please don't supply my mother. Please don't. And my mother said, it's not for me, it's for your spouse, Daniel. Because my spouse has arthritis and maybe marijuana will help her with that. Medical reasons. But I think it's illegal in Florida to have marijuana. I'm not sure. So what do I say? Even the spouse understands that stress is what's giving her arthritis problems, where she can't take off the bra and she can't get into or out of clothing or comb her hair. You know, she can't raise her hands up like that. The other day her coworkers were concerned about her because she couldn't even walk. Well, it was the day after sex, but she couldn't even walk. She has 1,000 things wrong with her, but it's all because of her stress. I mean, my mother's saying she's moving out, and then who will pay the house and all that. And I keep telling her, look, how many years have we been in this house? 7. How many banks have we gone through? Because they keep selling the loan to somebody else, to somebody else, to somebody else. And that actually worked out in our favor, because finally this bank says, okay, just pay us $600 a month and you get to stay there. But now the spouse is upset because she doesn't have the $600. She doesn't realize that she doesn't earn enough money to pay the $600. Oh, and she's very upset because her food stamps were cut completely, not just in half. They were just completely cut. So I tell her, you got a lot of stress, but don't you realize that everything comes from God? You know? But she doesn't. She doesn't read the Bible. She sends her kids to the Bible school, and then she comes home with a letter that says, it says we got to go to church. Otherwise she won't be able to do the first communion or the confirmation. Well, both of the kids. They know we don't go because they gave us like 1,000 envelopes. I know it's a 1 year, but they gave us so many envelopes. You're supposed to drop them off every time you go to church, and this way they know if you were there or not and how much money you gave. But oh well. I just know that God is in control of everything. And that's why I'm hopeful and smiling and joyous, because look, once you've been incarcerated, the thing's going to turn off. Alright, talk to you later. Bye. Once you've been incarcerated, you do things to appreciate life, whatever God gives you. I love you.